Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of The Handmaid's Tale Season 4, Episode 6. This is the moment that I feel like a lot of people may have been waiting for. Did it live up to the hype? That is, I guess, up to all you guys in the comments, but we'll tell you what we think.
Yeah, there's been many seasons that I think people have been waiting to see what the, reunion of Luke and June was going to look like. I mean, it's been a long time since they've seen each other, and we've seen a lot of other people go to Canada and have a really hard time connecting with their family members again.
It's setting the stage for, I think, a pretty interesting next chapter of the show where we don't exactly know where things are going to go, but we'll talk about the journey. We will talk about this full episode out on this strange boat. We'll talk about where is Janine? Like, come on, people. Give me answers.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, though, if you guys do enjoy this video, hit that subscribe button because Coco is here to help. She knows we're close to 50,000 subscribers. She wants to get us there. We can read your mind.
If you love cute dogs, hit that subscribe button. Help us get to that 50,000.
That's right. We're not above using you. Okay,
and if you do love dogs, also head over to our Instagram, Matt and Jess TV, where there are lots of pictures of Coco Chanel Vanderwolf.
Okay, let's just dive into this. Did you feel satisfied by this episode?
At first, I did not feel that satisfied about this episode, but the more that I thought about it, the more I felt satisfied with this episode. The thing is at first I was kind of like, oh man, do we need a whole episode of June trying to go back and not wanting to go? And the answer is yes. I think after all these seasons of her being out in Gilead and trying to find her daughter, even that moment where she saw her daughter and her daughter was scared or didn't know who she was, that doesn't change that that's June's child and that June wants to bring her home. I mean, this is a very long journey that she's been on, and she is feeling a lot of guilt about leaving her daughter there, that she feels like a failed mom.
I'm in kind of an interesting, similar sort of spot here because there was a part of me that was sort of thinking throughout, okay, if June goes, what does that mean for the rest of the series? What does that look like? But at the same time, while I was watching all of this and June kept being like, I want to go back, I'm going to go back, here's this lifeboat, I'm going to go take off on this, I was sort of thinking, okay, if June does go back into Gilead, what's going to happen to her? Either she's going to get killed, or she's inexplicably not going to be killed because she has the greatest suit of plot armor of all time, and then we're just going to watch the same thing that we've seen over the past few seasons. Like, this is at least something new.
Yeah, that's the thing. June can't go back. I've already said this in a past review that June should be on the wall for taking all those kids out of Gilead. I know that there's sort of the theme out there that people were thinking like, oh, if she goes on the wall, she'll be a martyr to other people. Or she'll be an example to other people. If you do this, this is what's going to happen to you. So it feels more like Gilead is not going to give her any more chances. Why would they?
Yeah.
Her being this sort of hero and still alive, still out there to tell the tales. I mean, that is not what Gilead is about. It's about power and control. And if you've got a problem like June, then you're going to make an example of her to get everyone else in line. So that's already been my biggest problem with this season is I don't believe at all that she was not put on the wall when they captured her. So she went back to Gilead again and she was still out there, unless she's out there with the Nighthawks or Mayday or whatever other group. If she's actually back in Gilead with Aunt Lydia, with whoever, she has to be on that wall.
There's no other explanation. It wouldn't make any sense anymore. And that's why, when the dust settles, I'm okay with her being in Canada now, because it's at least, okay, I can sort of understand that, and I like that it did come about with this big story for Moira, who has had not anything near this engaging to do in a long time.
There was a moment when June was trying to get on that lifeboat and Moira said, "I'm coming with you," that I actually expected June to turn around and be like, "Let's do this." Like, yes. I know June is very one-track minded right now, and I know that she cares about Moira, but she also knows that Moira is extremely strong, extremely valuable, and that together they could do twice as much damage to Gilead. So I thought she was actually going to be like, "Yeah, let's do this."
I thought there was a slight possibility, and at least then I would have been like, okay, at least June has somebody else with her, and maybe it could be different, but I'm still glad that didn't end up happening. I think it's just sort of June going through all these different stages in this episode where she's sort of like, I can't leave Hannah behind. I have to find a way to be there for Hannah, and I think she eventually just comes to this realization that being in Canada without her is definitely not ideal. It's one of the last things that she would have wanted, but she may realize that this is sort of her only way now. Even if the chances are astronomically small that she's able to find her, there's still theoretically a chance, and at least this way she does survive as well.
I think she also realizes after seeing Moira that there are other people that need her as well. She does have another daughter. Moira needs her. Luke needs her. There are other people that also need her. And we did see this back to the flashbacks of her feeling like maybe she wasn't going to be enough for Luke because of how they got together and all that sort of thing. And then they found out that they were pregnant, and then they all kind of moved forward. But clearly that's still sitting on her and in the back of her mind. When we saw that reunion, her first feeling was this happiness to see him, and this smile that quickly went away into, it's just me, I hope I'm enough.
Yeah, I think it's a big reminder. And this is why the flashbacks really mattered in this episode. And I have been sort of an opponent of them here or there. I think in season 3 they relied on them way too much. But I do think that it was important to sort of see why June feels the way that she does. Mm-hmm. Also, her struggle with being with Luke and asking these questions. And Luke seemed to just be happy to see her. He didn't seem to be holding any resentment. I mean, I was admittedly watching their scenes with a fine-tooth comb, and they're going off the boat, and there was a part of me that was like, okay, are they too far apart from each other given that they just had this reunion? Because one of them was 6 to 8 feet in front of the other. Maybe that is just he's giving her a little bit of space to sort of figure out her new reality and where she is.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that I think Luke understands, because he's been up in Canada helping people come over the border and escape and be, in Canada, that he has seen this, even with Rita, that it takes a while for people to be able to start getting their own footing again. I mean, there's a lot that people have gone through in Gilead that Luke doesn't understand, but he does seem to understand that time and space are needed to be able to kind of get your footing back.
My favorite moment of the episode was the very end. That scene with June where she's on the rail and she's about to step onto the land, and she just pauses, and I know it can be kind of this hokey thing sometimes of, oh, I'm gonna kiss the ground when the plane lands, or any of that sort of, but it really paid off for June here. I was I actually believed it, because I feel like if I was in her shoes, I would have probably been okay, this is the big symbolic step, I'm gonna take it all in for a moment, then I'm gonna do it.
This felt like the series finale moment.
It did, actually. You're right.
That's the thing about this show that I've been a bit critical about this season is, for me, I got into the show sort of, we're all watching this from this outside perspective of this horrible thing that has happened, this society that is just cruel and powerful and, just oppressing people, and having this sort of peephole into that society this whole time. I always thought that the series was going to end with her getting out. Yeah. With Hannah, without Hannah, whatever it would be, she would be out. Because it seems like every time somebody goes to Canada, all they have is hopes and prayers for everybody down in Gilead. They're not actually able to help anybody or do anything. So I thought this was going to be like a series finale moment that she would step into Canada and take that breath and then done. But that's not what's happening.
No.
We still have 4 more episodes this season. So where are they going with it? Now, my feeling of where they could be going with it, since June kind of has this hero status in Canada and with a lot of other people, maybe she is going to be the person that's going to start moving up the ranks politically in Canada, where we may get this scene in the final season where she's sitting at the table with some of the people that did this to her, but she is now in a position of power to change things.
I think that could be interesting. I think that ultimately, if we're moving in more of like a political direction, it's going to be weird because it's not what we've seen for the past few seasons. But if they're clearly saying, okay, we're not going to have all the Handmaid's Tale being watching handmaids in Gilead being tormented by these horrible people. We're going to try to find a way to show different sides of it. I think as long as June's sort of rise or way to get to that table is believable, then I think I can get on board with it. I think it's just, she has to be more than just sort of a hero figure. Like, what is she doing with these people in Canada in the present? It can't just be about, okay, here's your spot at the table because you rescued these kids. As noble of an act that is, that doesn't mean you can govern. It doesn't mean you can negotiate.
Yeah, and I mean, she also does have a lot of inside knowledge of not just Gilead, but sort of what the Marthas are doing and how they've been having sort of this underground resistance and able to do stuff there. Of maybe this is information that can then sort of help the Canadian government deal with what's going on down there. I think the biggest thing is just that Canada's not there to move in on Gilead and another country. They're there to help people if anybody wants to or can get across the border, but they're not really there to attack them or do anything further than that. It's more of aid. And that's where it's kind of like, okay, so what is June's position now in all of this? She doesn't want to aid. She wants to destroy and get her daughter back, of course, and help people, but she really wants to bring it all down. And that's not really the position that Canada is taking, and she's not in any position of power to change that. So what are we watching now? Is this just going to be how June and Luke figure out their relationship? Like, it seems that every time someone goes to Canada, they kind of just disappear. The story disappears.
Yeah. Like, and that's why I don't know. Like, I'm sure we'll see a little bit of June and Luke trying to figure things out, and June and Moira and these other characters, but there has to be something more. Now, I do have one beef with this episode.
All right.
We have June on the boat, and she's being asked, and she says, her name is Rachel Smith. I think that's her. It's like, how do the people who are from Gilead sort of, their forces, okay, maybe you don't have like a sketch of June in front of you or anything, but she's got to be like public enemy, I don't know, really high on that list. They got to at least kind of have some ideas to what she looks like. All they did was put like a hat on her and a vest, and nobody knows who she is now.
100%. This was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I totally do not understand how Gilead forces do not have a picture of her as sort of Gilead's most wanted. She's not just a handmaid out on the run.
Yeah.
She is someone who has committed this huge crime against Gilead. That picture should be with every single force, every single person to know who she is. And if there's any way to find her, because they're probably thinking she's trying to escape, that they would know who she is. I did not believe this for 1 second. It was completely ridiculous.
Can you at least give her like the glasses that have like the mustache, or like give her something of a disguise?
They needed to just hide her in the boat. This was beyond unbelievable.
No.
Right up there with, we've captured June and we're not putting her on the wall. And now we're going to send her to this breeding colony. I was just like, no. There's been some good stuff this season, but there's also been some like really big problems this season.
The only explanation I can think of, and this is even a stretch, is that guy just sucks at his job and he didn't really care to pay that much attention.
Yeah, it's possible, but I'm not going to give that a pass.
No, I don't want to give it a pass either.
That was ridiculous.
Now, the other big question, of course, I have is, where's Janine, people? Okay, you know what? You want to get rid of Fred? I'm fine with that. Don't show us Fred. I'm fine. Don't show Serena. That's okay. But Janine? You can't just abandon Janine, not give us any answers. Like, maybe she found some good people that are going to help her. That is where I'm going to live right now.
Yeah, I actually don't think Janine is dead. I don't know why. There's just something that feels like she's not dead. I really think, actually, if she was dead, that there would probably be some postmortem interviews out there with the actress. I just think that she's still out there doing whatever. Maybe she got hurt. Maybe she hid somewhere. I think she's probably hiding out somewhere.
I want a big Janine episode of these next few where we kind of learn where she is, know what she's doing.
Probably back with Steven. They weren't that far away.
Yeah, that's reasonable. And I mean, it seemed like she did. There were some things that she liked about being there despite all of June's concerns. So maybe we'll pick up on that. But yeah, this was a very short episode. It was only like 40 minutes. Wasn't really, there's not even that much in terms of like big substantive, I can't even say that word.
The big thing that like really got me though was watching the Canadians come in and help and then leave everybody.
Yeah.
That scene where the boat was pulling away and people were like knocking down the fence and like running for the boat was just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's just a reminder of how like terrible this world is, and while June may be in a slightly better place now, I mean, she doesn't have everything she wants, we can't forget about what was there, and I think that's sort of the point of it is, okay, you know what, we may be showing her somewhere else, but she still has all this trauma. She still knows where Hannah is. We know how all the other people in that city feel about being there, and it's not good. None of it is good. Like, this is not a happy ending.
I just don't think that June is going to be capable of just leaving her daughter down there, or even just leaving everybody down there. I mean, there was something in June that she not enjoyed being a hero, but needed to help people. There's something really deep in her that she needs to help get people out, and she just has this feeling of revenge against Gilead. They've not only taken her daughter, but now things have changed with her daughter, and that's just an unforgivable circumstance, all of it.
But let's turn this to you guys now, because we obviously want to know, what do you think The Handmaid's Tale is going to be at this point? Is it going to be more political? What's June's next plan? Give us your thoughts in the comments, and if you did enjoy this discussion, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well, and support us by checking those links to the store and our Patreon. We'll see you here next time.